The purpose of all psychological operations is to create emotions, the attitudes, and the behavior to support the achievement of national objectives.
My name is Philip Tully. I'm a senior data scientist at ZeroFox. And in a past life, I was a PhD student at the University of Edinburgh and the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm.
Psychological operations, PSYOP, will influence policy, decisions, the ability to govern, the ability to command, the will to fight, the will to support.
So in that past life, I studied recurrent neural networks, artificial intelligence, but in a much more kind of biologically oriented way. I was trying to figure out how you could combine neurons together and connect them up with synapses and simulate networks of neurons to try to get some storage and recall of memories.
Psychological operations can increase the combat power of friendly forces and adversely affect the combat power of the enemy. This is accomplished, basically, by attacking the identified weaknesses of the opposing forces through a planned and coordinated PSYOP campaign.
But what we wanted to propose here was rather that you could use artificial intelligence techniques and machine learning not only on defense, but you can use data to drive an offensive
PSYOP tools are radio, television, leaflets, newspapers,
let's get that to the press as soon as you can. Right.
Loudspeakers, and face-to-face communication.
We call our tool Snapper. It's the social network automated phishing and reconnaissance tool. And it's split up into two separate phases. The first phase takes as input a set of users who you want to target. And it takes the set of users and extracts a subset of them that it deems as high-value targets, so it prioritizes them. We'll get into more about this later. And then the second phase of the tool takes those users and crafts a tweet directed at them based on the content that they have on their historical Twitter timeline. And the end result of this is a tweet with an @ mention and the crafted machine-generated text, and then a shortened link, which we measure success using click-through rates.
Many times there are peacetime PSYOP needs before armed conflict breaks out.
There's also this other method called spear phishing, which takes tens of minutes to do. It's highly manual. You have to actually go out, research your target, find out what they enjoy doing, what time they're interested in posting at, things like that. You get the best spear phishing campaigns actually get up to a 45% accuracy from what we've seen. And we actually kind of split the difference. We actually combine the automated characteristics of actually phishing, but we still get pretty close to what the actual effectiveness of spear phishing.
The Defense Department is ramping up its spending as it delves further into shaping public opinion around the world. And seriously, in all, it's spending nearly $5 billion with more than 27,000 people working to get its message out.
In 1946, the Smith-Mundt Act went into effect, which banned the State Department from disseminating information to U.S. civilians. So, it's illegal for the Pentagon to push propaganda to us Americans. But in 2013, we were facing a new enemy, Al-Qaeda, and they were actively recruiting U.S. civilians to fight for them and conduct terrorist activities in the U.S. And so President Obama lifted the ban on domestic propaganda in an attempt to combat Al-Qaeda. So this allowed the State Department to push propaganda materials to us U.S. citizens now. And this law has not been changed since 2013. So I guess it's legal.
I don't think the average Muslim is a religious zealot who wanted to blow up the World Trade Center. The average Muslim just wants to wake up in the morning, go to work, get a decent salary, come home, and enjoy the rest of his day. The problem is the freaking governments and their religious groups who are living in the freaking past. They're fighting wars that nobody cares about anymore.
Right, then just a few words to wrap up. Why did we do this? We want to generally just raise awareness and educate people about the susceptibility and the danger of social media security. Like John said, people usually think about email very cautiously. You would never open a link in an email from somebody you've never interacted with before. We want to have that same culture be instantiated on Twitter now and on other kind of social networks.
The average Muslim wants what everybody in every freaking country wants. They just want government wants to freaking do everything in their power to complicate those freaking lives, and I'm sick of it. You think there's protests at Iran today? There should be protests all over the freaking world every day, because it's not just the Iranian government that sucks, it's every government that sucks. And the sooner you figure that out, the better we'll be. Every government sucks, period. What's next? What's next? What's next?
Data's out there, it's publicly available, and it can be leveraged against someone to socially engineer them. And with that, we'll take some questions.
The United States Army PSYOP mission is to support U.S. national policy, to support military operations, and to be prepared to conduct PSYOP unilaterally or in support of other military services and United States government agencies. We also give PSYOP training, advice, and assistance to other U.S. armed forces and friendly nations. Psychological operations create a favorable image, gain popular support, and weaken enemy forces. PSYOP is now a major weapon in 20th century.